As we see Dalton step into his car and take a seat behind the driver's wheel, behind the steering wheel. We see as the camera positions itself looking forward through the windshield. We see in the rearview mirror Mickey in the back seat as he reaches forward and injects something into Dalton's neck. And we see consciousness black out. Find ourselves very quickly at the Shard Medical Facility. And Nurse Joy coming out from behind, saying, "Is there a Krillian Vox here?"
Krillian Vox, yes, right here.
Okay. Yeah. Doctor's done with the treatment. Your friend? Either way, your acquaintance can, he's just recovering. He's gonna be out of it for quite some time, but we're gonna let him recover a little bit, in the room. Doc's got some time if you wanted to do that consultation.
Sounds good. Remember, it's all in his bill.
Oh, well, you can talk to the front desk about that. We do have, if you... And she looks at Patty. She says, if you'd like to talk to front desk, we have group plans for if you guys are like a team or something that you guys can set up. So you have like joint billing. If you have like a single account that you'd like to put everything under, we do that for like sports teams, and like some of the fight teams and some, runner groups that operate through here. So if you'd like to set up a collective account, we can do that. You can do that with front desk.
All right. Cool. I'm pulling out my codex and sending a message to Karen saying that we just got this idea thrown at us. What do you think?
Karen, Is Jacob's account automatically tied to it? If so, then absolutely set that up.
All right. Well, I look up at Nurse Joy. I'm like, thanks, and I look at Krill. I'll see you in a little bit, and then I walk up to the front desk.
Nurse Joy takes Krill back through the door. As you pass through as you're passing down the hallway, after you pass the first exam room, you maybe catch behind you the doctor transiting across the hallway into one of the staff areas that would be behind you and to your left now. If one were particularly eagle-eyed, you would see Jacob completely unconscious in that in the exam room 1. But Nurse Joy takes you down the hallway to a exam room 3, which is on your left past the staff room. And she just opens the door and sees you in. You can have a seat anywhere. Doctor will be in a second. I'll be in prior to him. We'll get some of your vitals ahead of time. And she just sort of like looks you up and down and sort of, if we can. Just, make yourself comfortable.
I will try. Thank you.
She closes the door behind her. We cut to the front desk with Patty. Yes. I just heard that exchange. Would you like to set up a group account?
I'm curious, but I need to figure out a few details first, and I've got somebody else who might be joining on it, so I need to relay it to them. I sent a quick message to Karen again. Hey, are you busy? Can we put you on a call so we can not like have to text back and forth?
I'm busy.
Okay. So okay. So the question I have to ask is, like, how many people can you get on it? What type? Are there any special services that are limited because it's a group plan? Like, can you
Oh,
give me just a general rundown?
no, it's all of our services that we would normally provide. We just provide a single billing source, and dependent on how many people are in the group plan, there are minor discounts up to 5% that we can apply to the bill per incident. But no, we allow for group plans up to 15 individuals.
Okay. And is it possible to have multiple sources where the funds come from?
Oh, we're used to alternative funding methods here.
Fair enough. All right. Hmm. Okay. So let me think. Unfortunately, my friend's busy at the moment. I'll have to relay to her. Can you send me kind of like all the terms and conditions, kind of like a rundown of what we would be signing if we did this and what we would need to do?
Yeah, I can absolutely do that. And out the front, just out the slot in the front, shoots out a quick stack of papers.
How
On
big are the papers?
It's not that big of a stack. You're looking at it, no more than 12 pieces of paper. But on the top is functionally a syllabus of sorts that breaks down that what they would require is a full physical for each participant. There would be one initial visit that would be a required visit that, of course, you're going to have to pay, but you pay for all of the services here. They're like they said, 5% discount. For the group plan, billing can be done invoiced, or it can be done prior to, and you can prepay an account and cut off services at a certain point, or you can choose to be invoiced in a particular cycle.
Okay. Um, Patty grabs the stack and just slips it away. I'm not gonna say anything right now because I didn't even talk to my friends about it, but I'll have them look at it and then we'll figure out how we feel. I do have a curious question. Do your people just do like purely physical treatment, or do you do like any psychological stuff like therapy and such?
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. We don't have we don't have mental health options on site, though we can refer you to someone if necessary.
Yeah, I would be curious if there are any people you would recommend.
I can absolutely get you a referrals list if that's what you would like.
Yeah, I would appreciate that.
Are you an existing patient?
No.
Oh, to refer you to another doctor, we're going to need to do an intake and make sure you're an existing patient first.
Would that cost me anything?
There's a $250 credit for initial visit, credit cost for initial visits. But for initial visits, that does get reapplied to other services if you choose to elect to stay with us as a patient.
Patty quickly looks at the corner of her codex and looks at the account. Is it? Okay. Let's just say I don't have creds in my account, but I've got some skills I could help y'all with. I could do some good work.
I'd have to run that up the flagpole. By alternative payment methods, we tend not to barter as much as we accept questionable sources of income,
Okay.
unverifiable sources of income.
Patty's thinking for a moment, and she didn't walk inside with her medtac vest on, so they wouldn't automatically know that. She isn't going to reveal that the fact that she worked for medtech, probably not a smart idea, but she's like, okay, I'll get back to you on that. But another thing is Jacob Fritz, last patient. I'm kind of like the closest he's got to any person to take care of him afterwards. When do you think he'll be free?
Oh, he should be, well, hold on, let me check. Oh, he should be coming out. I'd expect him to finish up probably around the same time as the consultation.
Okay. How long do you think the consultation's going to take?
It should take no more than 20, 30 minutes.
I know y'all could do that kind of thing up with like full on concussions and everything, but it's still fucking impressive.
Well, as we state, we are the premier medical facility for the Shard.
Fair enough. And wait. Do you have this is just like a completely random question. Do you have like a emergency medical response team? Because I know MedTech's got like the city stuff, but
We have an on premises response.
you know, you might want to run it up your chain, but like I feel like having an emergency response team like can go to people's places, because if you're providing an alternative service to MedTech, people would pay high money for that.
I would have to run that by my superiors.
No issue. I'm just saying some people have some decent experience with it and probably be able to help a lot on that.
I will bring this to their attention.
All right. Well, thanks, Terrence. And Patty backs up and just kind of goes back to her seat as she's kind of starting to read through the syllabus now.
We cut back to the exam room as one Doc Mac comes walking in through the door, face in a chart. And so I see here, this is quite the comprehend. And he looks up and he just trails off. Oh. So,
Yes.
what can I do for you today, ma'am?
I have so many issues in this body. I'm sure you can see by that chart.
It's very comprehensive documentation you've provided me. I will admit, not many patients who come through these doors are so detail oriented.
If you had an internal hub literally describing every ailment, break, and destruction of your body in front of you, I'm sure you would start keeping track of it too. And with that, I want out of this.
Oh, okay. Yes. All right. Initial visit consults. Oh, you'd like to do a body swap. Okay. And you see him just sort of swipe and swipe and swipe and swipe. And he's like, I could see why. So it looks like you're going to be providing the body?
Indeed, we already have one at the ready. I just need to know what kind of harness will my specific brain require for it. And then from there, I can either construct it or have it custom made, and then the procedure will be, capable from there outwards. I just am not capable of touching, and then she just pokes the glass on the back of her neck. I am unable to touch this myself or just, you know, basically kill my body in the process of twiddling around in there. I don't find it.
Yes. Yes. No, I should be able to conduct this for you, but tell you what, let's get a full body sweep and scan of you first so we can just know what we're working with. Just right across the hall. If you're comfortable, we can just head on over and I can just give you a quick head to toe. And then we can come back over here and maybe, have a little sit down and talk about what we're both getting ourselves into.
All right. Real quickly for her, gets up out of the chair and starts moving towards the scanning room.
Doc Mac opens the door. He proceeds on out towards the next door and just stands across the hallway, the door open. If you just go ahead and step into the circle right there.
Okay. I think all of me is in it.
Okay. He goes over to a corner. Nurse Joy steps in and closes the door behind. As he steps into the corner, there's a console that he sits down at. He taps a few keys, pulls up a patient file, and initiates a scan. And what occurs is a series of mechanical arms just fold out from an aperture above you. And as it folds out, it creates two rings. And the rings just silently move from the top of the room to the bottom, and then up once again. And then they reposition themselves. And they just repeat this process several times. And when all is said and done, they just retract themselves back into their apertures above your head. And Doc Mac just looks at the results, and he's sitting there and he goes, okay, tell you what, if you just give me a minute to go over these results, Nurse Joyle, to help you back to we'll see you back to the other room. And I'll be in with you in a minute.
Hey, thank you, Doc. Krill, while her systems are very bare bones right now, can I still make an attempt to scanning their scanning equipment once it's been done? And she's not trying to interrupt their scan, but like, oh, look, they're done. Can I get my own scan?
I mean, you can give it a look-see.
All right.
So
-2 on the die.
Yeah, -2. Your investigate is a 2, but that is a 0. So yeah, Krill, without most of her apparatus, is at a loss for what necessarily comprises the equipment, right? Because unlike a lot of Krill's stuff, there's fancy plastic and that sort of thing. There's shielding over a lot of this stuff to make it look like a good commercial product, right? It's not hand-built stuff. So you're just sort of looking at arms and beige and...
The exposed wires on my drones add personality. Thank you very much.
Fair enough. Nurse Joy opens the door, walks you across the hallway. Give me a notice roll.
It's a 0 on the die. That a 3.
As right before the door closes, you hear whew.
The doc could just be like, holy shit.
A few minutes go by, The door opens, and the Doc Mac is looking like he's got a term paper due.
Term paper, more like it's terminal.
So, first, I feel it's my responsibility to ask. Did you do this to yourself?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I would have not used 25-year-old scrap to construct a new body with, let alone military tech that has no business being a cybernetic.
Okay, second question. Is there a name you'd like me to have of who did this to you?
And Krill goes to speak, and her voice digitally corrupts while trying to say it.
Okay, well. All right, well then, on to business, I suppose. The body, what's left of it, is functionally a throwaway. There's not much of you, biologically speaking, left in there. So at this point, I don't see any point of attempting to salvage anything, especially since we're going over to a UA model. We'll be ditching everything other than the brain. So we'll concentrate our discussion today on the brain. Now, this is where our problem starts. Whoever decided to do this work on you used what's generally known as spike probes on your brain to pick up a lot of the neurological activity. This is a damaging procedure. This is antiquated methodologies long before I was even born. So we have that to contend with. Now, I'm not saying we can't contend with it. In fact, modern technology allows us numerous ways of contending with this. But we will require, we will have to have a full removal of the brain and stem, and we will have to conduct what's basically a maintenance cycle with you in a jar, to put it bluntly. Now, we can absolutely do a nanotech interlaced mesh, which I can't make any promises. Now, you have to understand, I can make no promises with the outcome of this surgery, given the nature of the work, shall we say, for lack of a better term, that has already been performed upon you. But if the nanomesh does what it does for most people, then there is a possibility of repairing some of the damaged sections of the brain and allowing me to actually remove those spike probes. Now, what happens when that brain is repaired and those neural nets are replicated using that nanomesh, I don't know. You seem to have a series of glitches. You seem to have interruptions in your speech, in your various control systems for the interface from your brain to your body. Those hitches, those glitches, they could stay the same. They could get better. They could get worse. There's no way for me to tell. The nanomesh, which I know you wanted to make your own wiring harness, a UA body uses a level of technology. It's simply unlikely that you're prepared to manufacture a harness of this nature. So that's no big deal. We have them. We can provide one. It's essentially a chemical cocktail of sorts that gets electronically arranged. But once that is complete and the maintenance cycle is done, and if it is achievable, Then we will move on to the next section, possibly removing those probes. If the nanomesh takes, then we can move on. If the nanomesh doesn't take, then you're going to wake up in your old body. But if it takes, and I have your approval, we can then attempt to remove those probes and calcify the mesh, because functionally what occurs is the mesh creates a shell. It creates a pearlescent shell around your brain that then protects it. It solidifies and hardens and then conducts signals in its entirety. That pearlescent shell acts as one giant transmitter for your brain to conduct the multitudes of signals that would normally be conducted to your to the new UA body. So, if it works, if it takes, then we can try and get those probes out of your head. Then we can finish the procedure, and then you can wake up in a new body. But if the mesh rejects, then you'll be waking up in your old body, because I won't remove the probes if the mesh rejects. That's basically our route forward at this point. I can keep your body as it stands right now alive. I can keep your brain alive separately and see what plays out along that procedure. In total, we're probably looking about 20 hours of surgical time.
Okay, it's a pretty big investment, but I've got shit to do, and I don't want to. She just kind of looks at her extremely pale arm. Don't want to just keel over before I'm done. So, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, well, couple of things. I hate to be gauche about it, but front desk will need to talk to you about billing. But also, more importantly, to my end of the process, we'll need the body in, of course, to make sure that it's functioning and ready and prepped for everything to occur. Now, that's easy to do. We've got a back loading bay, actually, that is out on the side of the shard. So we line up with all of the other commercial establishments, like all of the various vendors in the facility. So we have bay number 3 on the loading dock that you can actually, bring the body up that way. That way you're not dragging what appears to be a dead body through the shard, at least. It wouldn't be the first time, to be perfectly honest, but we find most people are more comfortable taking it in the back route.
No, that makes sense. I will not create a cadaver-like situation in the halls. I think that is appropriate.
Okay, well then I will finish up charting and putting in what needs putting in, and just hang out and wait a few minutes, and then the front desk will let you know how everything's gonna work out. I hear from my staff that your acquaintance is actually the one receiving the treatment across the hallway right now, so he should be finishing up shortly. So yeah, you guys can just wait out in the treatment area. Nurse Joy can explain. And he goes, lovely to meet you. And I hope to see you again in the future.
Lovely meeting you as well, Nurse Joy. Have yourself a good time.
Yeah, that would be done.
I am going to... oh, that was Doc. Pardon me.
Hey,
Doc Mac, thanks so much. And, honestly, thanks for agreeing to what seems like a daunting task.
I mean, you should see some of the shit shows they bring me from the ring in this place. So, wouldn't be the first time I performed a miracle. He leaves the room. Nurse he just heads right next door to the staff area. Nurse Joy keeps the door open and says, if you want, we can go ahead and grab your friend here on the way out. And she leads you in. You see that there's already a wheelchair sitting ready in that room. She turns and goes, so, question, is somebody going to be capable of being responsible for him for a little while? Because the treatment has rendered him unconscious, and he's going to be unconscious probably for 12 hours.
There's just this subtle pause of Krill considering, does she say no, we don't have anyone responsible? She just takes in a sigh. Yes, we have a medic with us who will be capable of handling him from here.
Oh, yes, the young lady who seemed ever so eager to get back here. So that explains that, medic. Okay. Yes. All right. Well, Nurse Joy just takes the wheelchair, and it's power assisted. It just glides, and as she approaches that door, she just elbows a button on the wall, and the door opens on its own. And she's like, I got a pickup for a medic.
Patty is at Terran's desk again. I'm like, okay. So I know you already did the whole consult for my friend here. I was curious if you could do a small consult for me and how much it would cost with Doc Mac.
250 creds.
God, okay. I'll keep that in
That's
mind.
very
Thanks.
reasonable.
Yeah, well, I'm running a little low on funds right now. Oh, shit.
So
Patty heads over.
Nurse Joy walks out with Jacob, and says, "Okay, so we have done a full nano-inflammatory treatment. We've also done a consciousness inhibitor, and we've done a nanomusculature rebuilding of the shoulder. So just to ease his overall pain, we've put him under for the next 12 hours. So he's basically a sack of potatoes right now."
Understood.
You know
You
what?
know, he's been no more useful the last 3 days anyways.
He probably needs to fucking sleep at this point.
Nurse Joy looks over at billing at the front desk and goes, "Did you get them set up on a group account?"
Did we get set up on a group account, Patty?
Not yet.
You had one job.
I got the doc. I got like all the pages. I didn't want fucking. She like leans down. I didn't want fucking Karen on my fucking ass, okay?
Karen would be more on your ass for not getting a deal.
No, Karen would be on my ass if I put her on a random fucking account.
Not if it was saving us fucking okay, no, whatever. Whatever. Krill just walks up to the fucking desk. And Karen receives a message. Just in case we have to pay for these today, and Jacob can pay us back tomorrow, can you please be ready to wire me some creds for the medical bills from our gun payments the other day? I promise you will be getting the money back from Jacob soon.
Oh. Karen sends back a message. Sure, but I thought Jacob was already going to be paying.
He's currently not conscious, and the medical staff didn't get him to pay before.
Oh, we have. Sharon says, "Oh, we have his billing on account."
Oh, you do you? Pardon me, then. Karen, I think we are quite lucky today. There's just a little shrimp emoji that pops up along with it. And
Karen sends back the painting the nails emoji.
So we're making it rain.
So, he's already on the account. So I would absolutely love to look into a group account. Now, do we have to do this through family, LLC? What are we looking
Oh
at
no, we
here?
can just, it's just in-house. It's just generally we work with, teams of fighters from the Shard and groups of runners. And so we're used to alternative capitalist enterprises that often come into contact with needs for healthcare. And so we decided that, it oftentimes there would be a need for a sort of centralized billing process for some of these groups, some of these teams. And so, yeah, we went ahead and set that up in-house, of course. Like I told your associate over here, it simply, all we would need is, prior to providing the healthcare to, individuals, we require, of course, a physical. You are excluded, of course. Mr. Fritz is excluded from that, as we've already seen you and conducted physicals upon both of you. So you could, immediately upon signing of paperwork, come back for healthcare as necessary. But anybody you'd like to add to the list would have to visit Doc Mac first and get a workup before we add them to the account. That's all.
Understood. I will actually make a note of that. And there is just a ping across everyone except for Jacob, which is mandatory group assignment. Get checked by the doctor so that we are on their insurance and ready on a group account.
I send back an instant response. I've got all the paperwork that they would have us fill out because they printed it out, so we can look at it too.
They printed you out. You're so inefficient, Patty. Did you ask?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. They printed it out without me asking.
Okay. I will take your word for it. There are tablets on the counter right there.
Yeah, well, she printed it back there, and she points towards like the far end of the room.
You see Terrence look at this and just go, I felt that analog was the best option.
I can read.
Terrence, and there's just the slowest. Understood.
I can read, okay? I have a codex.
I didn't doubt your literacy.
It wasn't in audiobook form, was it?
Who the fuck are you?
Hi, I'm Krill. Nice to meet you.
Shut the fuck up, Krill.
Lovely to meet you, Krill. My name is Terrence.
Nice to meet you, Terrence. I appreciate your logical outlook on the world.
If you'd like a digital copy, by all means. If you want to fill it out utilizing one of our tablets, you can. But if you'd like a digital copy, I can send that right on over to you. If you'd like to finish it up today or another day, that's fine. But if we do it another day, we're going to have to arrange billing, of course, for the services that were rendered today.
No, just send it over.
Ding.
And just in Krill's HUD, info is just one line after another, just filling the fuck out at rapid paces. And she even lists the entire crew, but just also lists who hasn't come by yet. Like making a note even for them, like this person has not seen Doc Mac yet and should.
Putting the entire crew?
Do you mean, am I putting down a Troy bot?
Mm-hmm.
Brill's instinct seeing Troy as a person is just gonna put Troy down without even thinking.
Okay.
But it's only in first names for everyone that hasn't come. I don't think Krill knows everyone's last names, and further, not giving out unnecessary shit.
Okay.
Am I being like really dense here, or what am I missing?
No. I'm just waiting for you to either finish what you're doing or...
Okay, pardon me then. Krill fills out all the information and just sends it right back over.
Okay, hold on. Let me just give this a quick review here. I see there are a number of mono name individuals here. While not a problem, we are quite often familiar with fighters and individuals who simply go by a single name. We will have to associate a pre-authorization number with these particular patient accounts. So when they do come visit us, that they can, of course, indicate and prove that they are the ones that we are expecting.
Understood. If you give me those authorization numbers, I'll ensure only the right people receive them.
You get one for everyone who has not been. You get one for Patty. You get one for Karen. You get one for Dalton.
Do I need to
Even
type
though I
that
wrote
down?
Troy down, there's none for Troy.
Oh, you did put Troy there. That's right. Yes, you get one for Troy as well.
Is it one of those like special entire series of numbers, or is it something I can write down? Because I'm just making sure I don't forget this.
No, it's a barcode.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no. Krill just sends the data to Patty whilst keeping a copy of it herself in case one needs to send it again.
So what I see here that you didn't fill in billing data for the group account. How would you like that handled?
So Jacob Fritz will actually be the main account that we are using for this group. I believe you already have his billing information in particular.
Oh, I'm going to need to reauthorize that. Can you put his codex up to the billing, to the scanner, please?
Absolutely. And Krill just takes his codex out of his pocket and puts it on the account.
Okay, thank you. Reauthorized for the group account. So I see here that, okay, so we're just going to go ahead. He's have fairly simple treatment coming in at 7,500 credits for his bill today. Krill, your bill was 250 credits for the consultation. If you'd like to apply that, if you are planning on having the procedure as outlined by Dr. Mack, we can just back apply that 250 to the procedure, so no worries there. If you are going to
be able to put the procedure down now,
I can go ahead, and if you think that there's sufficient funds in the account, I can go ahead and pre-authorize that, no problem. I will tell you that just non-itemized, it looks here like the surgical procedure for the removal of your brain, plus the maintenance cycle, plus the reimplantation, plus the mesh, plus the harness. It looks like we're going to run, we have an estimate of 45,000 credits, but we want to pre-authorize 60,000 credits just in case there's some sort of overage. So
I understand completely.
We would be authorizing 67,500 credits today if you'd like to go ahead and try that.
Absolutely. I am not aware if he has messed with the mutual account or not, but let's just hope he hasn't gone and bought a new car in the last few weeks or something.
Okay.
It shouldn't bounce. Hopefully.
Just gonna go ahead and authorize that, and it's fine. You are prepaid for your surgery.
It's fine.
And he is paid up for today as well. Now, the way group accounts work is you can keep this on for billing in the future. Or you can prepay an account as well, and you can have a prepaid account here if you'd like. If you would like me to authorize any funds beyond that, so they are waiting and ready here for, say, emergency situations where somebody may be unconscious, or that sort of thing.
I don't think we're going to be prepaying that today, but we will be doing that in the near future. That is very useful.
Okay.
Very useful system.
Well, then I see here that we still need to schedule your surgical procedure. Doc Mac has written in your chart that he would like to see the body prior to the surgical procedure in case there's anything, anything incorrect or anything that needs repairs, work, or needs further investigating. So if you could go ahead and bring in the body when you do that drop off, you go ahead. I think you were probably informed it's Bay 3 loading dock. If you're actually out by the parking lot, if you exit the parking lot, turn right and then turn left. If you come down that side of the shard, you'll see the loading bays for the vendor area, and just go ahead and turn in there. And dock number 3 is ours. There's a button out there that rings inside here and for deliveries and that sort of thing, and we can go ahead and get that body. When you drop off the body, we'll go ahead and schedule 1 week out from for that. If we have openings, we might be able to get it done sooner. If the doc takes a look at the body and we have an opening and he says everything's good, we might be able to get you in the next day if you want to wait list it. But we'll put a tentative on the schedule for 7 days out from the delivery of the body, just to get everything done.
Understood.
Okay, well,
All right, I will try and get that body to you as soon as possible. And I will sorry about that. I will look forward to whatever work can be done.
How much longer are you open today?
We're open till typically the fights. We're Mondays. We're typically open to about 7:30, depending on what happens after the fights. But sometimes you can find us here after hours as well. It's an unpredictable field, and I don't think he'd mind me saying Doc Mac could be at a better facility than this, but I think he's addicted to the excitement a little bit. So I think he likes it here. So,
and what time is it right now, Kai?
you're coming up on 5.
I look at Krill. Probably drop off the body tomorrow. I could pick it up and then bring it down the back if you're fine with that.
Absolutely. There's some preparations with it I must do anyways. It's got some features that I believe I can activate even whilst it is in dormant state. I'm going to see what I can fiddle with.
All right, cool. Cool. Hey, do you mind if you pulled Jacob here around to the back and I could get the car to the back? It's just easier.
Oh, no problem.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Krill, you stay here with him. I'll be back in a couple minutes.
Okay. Krill just wheels Jacob over to a corner, his unconscious self, as she spins it around, and there is just this ungodly glare coming from her. We have had so much financial struggle, and I just tapped your codex, and 67,000 came out with ease. You never speak up, and only put out when it involves killing someone. Why the fuck are you sitting on mounds of credits?
Yeah. Patty is sending a message to Karen and says, as she's walking, guess how many creds Jacob just paid for as she's heading to the car.
You don't get a response from Karen.
I guess she doesn't want to know, and then keeps heading. And eventually gets to the car, pulls out of the parking lot, turns right.
Give me a
left.
drive check.
Yep. I figured it was coming.
But you don't get away from them. That's not part of the deal.
+1, so it's a 2.
Okay. You turn right, you turn left, As you go down this side street adjacent to the shard, you see off on your left a series of loading bays, and just sort of a large parking area.
Loading bay 3.
Okay.
I wrote it down, motherfucker.
Do you attempt to back in? Do you attempt to just pull in?
I want to pull in towards like the door side that's closest to the door. This way it's just a quick 1-2 to get him inside the car.
Okay. So
Yeah, she's stopping and she's been pretty smooth so far, but there's still that little like sudden stop on the brake at the end. She's like, dang it. And she puts it in park.
okay.
And turns off the keys, and she hits the back of the door.
There is a button adjacent to each door, clearly labeled parking spot. The ground has a giant 3 in their loading area. The door next right above it sort of has a 3 on it, leading up a ramp to it so people can wheel things up to these doors as well if necessary, and there's a button adjacent to it. When you ring the button, a few seconds go by. Nurse Joy swings the door open and says, "Guys, I'm pretty sure your friend is here."
Oh, thank you very much. And then she just spins him back around, walks away. I'm so glad Krill doesn't have a face because they don't need to see the utter fakeness she is trying to express while walking through. Have a lovely day, Nurse Joy. Thank you all again.
Oh, yeah, you as well. Nurse Joy walks you to the back. It's all the way to the back, and then it bends. It doesn't bend. It turns left, and you see that there's some bathrooms on the left then as well. There's some supply closets and stuff straight ahead, and then there's the door on the right. And she just goes ahead and opens it. It's a sort of slightly oversized door as well. And she just opens it, and there stands Patty.
Hey, Nurse Joy, could you help me load him in the car, like keep his head protected while I lift him into it?
Oh, yeah, certainly, dear.
Thanks. And she does like the whole very much like assisted living process you learn in picking up people like unconscious or something. You just slowly lift and just eventually get him to the car. Hey, Krill, do you think there's a neck brace in here or something? I don't want his head shaking around too much right now.
I don't care.
Okay.
You get a ding on your phone. Karen texts back 69.
67,000.
Sorry, I meant 1,000.
Nurse Joy, hearing you ask about a cervical collar, says, "I could just grab one if you'd like."
Sure. Yeah. Thanks.
She just hustles up the ramp really quickly and comes back with a cervical collar and a sterile plastic bag and just opens it.
Cool. She just sets it around Jacob's neck, helps keep it like pretty just in place, and then eventually just gets him into the car, make sure the seatbelt and everything's put around him. You think that's tight enough? I don't want him shaking around too much. Here's what we're gonna do. She moves him towards the other side and then she just firmly tightens it. I think it's good.
Nurse Joy is already partway up the ramp with the wheelchair.
All right. Thanks.
Having reclaimed it.
All right. You ready to head out?
Yeah. Go
All
ahead.
right. Cool. She closes the door and hops in, turns on the car. Where are we to? Your place or back to the base?
Base.
All right. Cool. Time for another drive check.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. Oh god.
what you find is that given the way you've pulled in here, that another delivery truck has sort of pulled in front of you at the loading bay next door to number 3. So it's sort of blocked you in.
So it's like very much like the 2-point turns, just eek, 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 and it's just constant. I'm like, I'm gonna kill myself. You know, this motherfucker, as she's like having to do these, and then she's like cursing every other moment. This motherfucker is making me pay for some of my fucking alcohol when he has this many fucking creds.
And the camera slowly fades as the 97-point turn proceeds. How do we find Karen?
Karen is sitting up on the edge of a random bed with someone loudly snoring in the background, and she's putting one shoe on and then another shoe on. She's looking up the location of Bello. She knows it's in the commercial zone. Probably not too far.
It is not. It is, well, given you were, well, I don't know where you ended up, frankly. I know where you began, but I don't know where you ended up. But Settebello is close to Greenview Park. It's closer to the well than most of you guys have strayed in this campaign. It's down there by Greenview Park, right off the station for the public transit system.
Okay. Karen decides to swing by that direction as she heads out.
Okay. Taking public transit again, I take it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, where are you coming from?
Just a bit north, that would be east, southeast of my place.
Okay. So you have one train in to Central, and then you have to change trains and head on down towards Greenview, towards the well. This station you get off of right by you would get off by Greenview Park is actually the last station that you can actually get off without having a secured station. There's only two like public transit methods into the well, and they are highly secured facilities. They are very fancy facilities. They are very well-to-do, well-appointed facilities. Lots of glass, lots of plants. But they are also very high-tech and very secure. But the Greenview Park Station is the last public transit dust-off location before you find yourself undergoing a much larger amount of scrutiny than most people in your profession prefer to have upon them. So as you get out, Greenview is right there, though. It is in the sort of, it basks in the sort of glory that is the well. And so it is a high-end park. It is appointed with much greenery. It is appointed with a decent amount of fountains and water features. It is a fairly decently sized park unto itself, given that it is in the commerce section and it is very close to the well. So the things that the rich people, if they have to look out upon the city, they prefer to see something more pleasant to look at. And being in the commerce section unto itself, especially on, you know, the level that it is already a higher end park. Just across the street from Greenview Park is the station that you disembark from. And on the other side of that street is where Setabello is. So Setabello finds itself on the other side of the station, right across the way from Greenview Park. Setabello is a old school styled Italian restaurant. It is a restaurant that has Chianti bottles on the tables. It is very, very dark, except for pseudo candle light. It is very well sort of. There is a smell about it that does not come easily. An amount of cigar and wine and garlic that is just sort of baked into the walls at this point. Like most things in this town, though, all square footage is expensive. And so the front is sort of modeled after an old school Boston sort of eatery. There's not much to it. It's just a door in off the street. There's some simple lettering on the glass, and you can't really see in past the glass. It just is eternally dimmed out. And as you step into Setabello, there is a nice little sort of nook where there's a coat check and someone waiting, a hostess and someone working the coat check counter, and then a hostess behind a podium of sorts. And she looks at you and says, walk in or reservation?
A walk in.
Okay, I don't think I have anything available at tables right now, but if you'd like, I can put you on the list and we could seat you at the bar. And we have lovely appetizers at the bar, and you can wait for a table if you'd like.
The bar would be lovely, thank you.
Oh, perfect. Do you need to check anything?
On just this disgustingly wet thing that I'm covering myself with.
The coat check person comes from behind the counter and carefully takes that piece of clothing and hands you a ticket.
Beautiful, thank you, dear.
We'll hang on to that for you, and don't worry, it'll be dry by the time you come back.
Oh, great. You're a dear. Thank you.
The hostess proceeds to walk you into the main area of the restaurant. It is a fairly small location. There is a bar to the right-hand side. There's a series of tables sort of down the center and a little bit in front of where you are. There is a divider wall with some green glass appointed atop the divider wall, and there's another series of tables down. And then in the back, there are some booths against the back wall, and in the corner, there is a corner booth. The restaurant, despite not having many tables available, according to the hostess, doesn't seem like there's that many people actually eating at the tables. The bar has less than a handful of people at it, and there is a bartender diligently servicing the bar. The hostess walks you over to the bar, pulls your seat out for you.
Oh, the service here is quite impressive.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. We do attempt to impress. She scooches you in a little bit as you take a seat. And she takes off of a small rack already on the bar a single page a la carte menu. And she says, these are some of our appetizers and meals available at the bar. And Joseph, the bartender, will be right with you.
Much obliged. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. I hope your meal here at Setubello lives up to the expectations that we have set.
We will see. Thank you.
The hostess shuffles off, diligently going about her duties. Joseph very quickly slides on down the bar with a saccharine grin upon his face and places a cocktail napkin down right in front of you and says, "What can I get for the lovely lady today?"
Oh, it depends. What's delicious today?
Well, given the cold nature and wet nature of the day today, might I recommend a nice warm mulled wine? We make it just like the old world used to.
A small glass.
I will get you a taster of it just to see if it lives up to your expectations. As far as food goes, would you like to just get that wine going first, or would you like to hear about some of our specials?
The wine for now is fine.
Lovely. I'll get right on that for you.
Thank you.
Joseph very quickly back to the end of the bar, pulls a few things out, quickly comes back, and he's got a wine glass with just, a finger and a half's worth of wine in the bottom of it. And he says, "For the lovely lady."
That's strong flavor.
We do make it in-house.
Well, it's authentic tasting, yes. I do think I know what I'd like. Could I interest you in getting a hot toddy for me?
Certainly, ma'am. I will get right on that for you.
Thank you. Karen, while they're making this, is not trying to be very obvious about eyeing the other people at the bar.
Well, the people at the bar are, shall we say, they look to be, for the most part, starting from the furthest from you. It's an elderly gentleman who seems to be 4 martinis deep into his 3 martini lunch. Then there is a woman who is sitting next to him and seems to be possibly on the clock. And then with one seat between them and the next person seems to be some sort of businessman who is paying more attention to his codex than he is the drink and the appetizer of what appears to be some form of possibly garlic and butter, snails, and a piece of bread, that sort of thing. But he seems to be more focused on his codex than his meal and his drink in front of him. And then there's an empty bar stool, and then we find you.
Okay.
The gentleman next to you is upper middle age of some sort.
Right. Uh, Karen, when Joseph brings back the drink. You know, this is my first time here. This is quite a little ambiance going on here. You seem to have a particular clientele.
The owner of the restaurant sees it more as a passion project than a commercial venture.
They're doing it for the art. Ah. I always love those people. Okay. Lots of regulars, I'm guessing.
On a rainy Monday evening, not so much, but on a Friday and Saturday night, the rich and those that fancy themselves to be rich seem to come out in droves.
And this is a fun place for them to hang, I guess.
I think for many of them, it's more about who than where.
Okay. I think I could hang out in a place like this. Are you going to be here on the weekend too, Yosef?
More than likely. Mondays don't pay the rent. But a good night on Friday or Saturday, that can pay my rent for a month.
Sounds like a good gig you have yourself here.
Sometimes.
Okay. All right, Yosef.
And I didn't get your name. What was your name, pretty lady?
You can call me Christine.
Well, it was lovely. It was lovely to provide you a warm drink on this dreary day, Christine.
Thank you.
Is there anything else?
I think I'll be okay for now. Thank you, dear.
Well, if you need anything, you know what to do. Yosef shuffles off to continue his bartenderly duties. He slides by the businessman who is 4 martinis deep now, and you can hear, "Are you certain, sir?" Yes, yes! I know how many when I've had enough many. Give me another one.
Sure sounds like a man who knows what he wants.
Martini. Yes, sir. Another martini coming right up, sir.
Little olive branch. How are you tonight?
Are you watching?
Yes. Yeah.
Yosef is putting water in a martini glass.
I really like him.
He drops an olive on a toothpick and sets it in front of the man and goes, "One martini, sir. It's about time." He picks up his glass. Takes a swig and goes, "I'll give you that. Make a good martini." With a slosh, he plants it back down on the table and proceeds to lean into a long-suffering lady of the night.
Oh, this was the very drunk guy on the very end.
Uh-huh.
Yes, okay. Yes. Well, watching all of this, Karen leans over to the businessman in the middle, who's one seat away, and says, "You seem to be missing all of the entertainment."
Oh, yeah. Oh, him. Yeah. No, if I don't make this trade happen, well, if I don't get this trade done and get these stocks shifted, my boss is going to have my ass, and I've got to get this done before close of market in Tianjin. And so, yeah, I don't have time for his drunk ass.
Interesting place to be doing work.
Well, usually it's quieter than this.
Fair. So does that mean you're done soon?
I mean, if people would stop interrupting me, maybe.
My bad. Oh, apologies. Do you come back here often?
You see him sort of slide his codex away a few inches. Yeah, I usually take my my lunch breaks here. But today my lunch break is at 5 p.m. and my lunch break isn't turning out to be much of a break. So, yeah.
Always fun working for the man.
Oh, yeah, and in my instance, the man is a ball-busting woman.
Oh, even better. Wow. Apologies on getting in your way, then. I don't want to be messing with your income.
So, we're done?
If that's what you want.
You see him immediately go back to his codex.
Okay. Karen calls over Yosef. Tries to get his attention.
Yes, Miss Christina. What can I get for you?
You know, I'm not certain that this is the right kind of vibe that I want to be involved with, but
he leans in. I apologize. It's this is what washes in, with the rain. Come back. Come back on a weekend. I promise you, it's far more jovial.
I'll take your word on that, Yosef. I think I will come back. But I hope to see you here.
hope to see you as well. Tell you what, for the inconvenience, for getting yelled at, just drinks on the house.
Now you will definitely be seeing me again. Thank you, dear. And she finishes the rest of it in one sip, one drink. Slams it on the table. I hope your rest of the day is better than mine.
Well, I'll at least be dry.
You'll have me there. Karen turns and walks out.
As you approach the coat check, the person behind the counter very quickly has your jacket for you. Doesn't ask for the ticket, simply remembers who you are. Says, "Here you go, ma'am," and holds the jacket for you to put your arms into.
Now, I don't know who this mysterious owner is, but I certainly enjoy his style.
Oh, well, the hostess interjects and says, "Oh, well, if you'd like to meet Mr. Bayet, he often holds court here Friday and Saturday nights."
Ah, Mr. Bayet. That was my next question. Thank you. 2 teas?
Yes?
Thank you, dear.
The hostess, knowing better than to ask questions about the eccentricities of guests, just seems to let it slide. The camera comes up and we see lights swishing through an infinitely dark sky. We see golden letters for Taylor Designs spinning and having a variety of effects and movements applied to them as they holographically are floating around the front of a fairly decently large building. Palm trees spring out, bottom lit, around the front of this building's entrance, which is walled on all sides with a singular entrance out front, where we find Troy and Exile, and a few steps behind them, Rez. I think if we could see her visage in this sort of darkness, one would see the countenance on her face would be one of grinning. This would not be the first time she's done a clothing run at the behest of passerby, I don't think. And of course, that clothing run passerby is done at the behest of one Blitz. So, as we left Troy and Exile standing at this entrance, we saw one watchdog and one sentry program pass by each other out front. What do you do, Troy? What's Troy up to?
Well, at the moment, Troy's just kind of taking in the whole scenery. This is kind of the fanciest he's gotten a chance to see on the net so far. Lots of lights, lots of colors. A lot nicer looking than the clinic that he hacked earlier, or the little warehouse section of that the fun house was at.
It is a showpiece.
Yeah, he's kind of taking it in. He's a little awestruck. He's almost like a kid at the circus. And just as he's walking by with Exile, He looks over the exile and asks, have you infiltrated a facility like this before?
Oh man, I don't get in for this bougie ass shit.
What is your usual expertise, or what is your usual experience?
Oh man, I'm after those data dumps. I like corporations. You hit those subsidiaries, get the databases, you turn and burn that stuff on the net, make an easy payday, man.
You can make money selling information.
He just turns and looks at Rez.
Troy's looking over at Rez too, like, did I say something?
Man, did you just strap me with a noob? Exile, you'll be fine. Troy. Exile, Troy is more interested in the technical aspects of what we do rather than the, shall we say, commercial aspects. He's closer to, say, myself than Grim.
That would be an accurate assessment. Although I have had considerations for the potential financial gains that these skills could acquire.
To answer your question, Troy, yes. Data is worth quite a bit of credits. Depending on the data, of course.
I will keep that in mind.
All right, man, let's get in there. Fucking entrance right there. I can just jump in. I can stab that stupid watchdog program, take a slash at that sentry, and we'll just be good to go. Let's just kick in the door, man.
We could go in that method. However, I would suggest a brief once around. Find other potential avenues.
Man, what are you going to suggest? You don't know shit. You didn't even know we could sell this stuff.
I do know that there are potentially other entrances, ones that may be more efficient.
Rez speaks up and says, Exile, I told you, you could learn something from each other. Oh, man. This is more of this slow shit that you keep talking about. Fine. Fine. We'll do it your way. All right, lead the way, weirdo.
Troy just starts walking around the big-ass facility, taking note of any other potential avenues of entry. Back doors, stuff like that. I'm gonna guess he sees a few things?
He does see a few things. Okay, so... Give me one sec. Okay, so... Do I have... Oh, no, of course not. I know where. There we go. All right. He's got literally nothing into it. All right, cool. All right. So as you walk around, a passive notice skill on this would let you see that there's installations of some sort on the corner of every on the corner each corner of the wall as you walk around. The wall is a bit high, so you can't quite see above or around it other than that front entrance area. From what you could see in the front entrance area, there is some sort of courtyard area out front, and the building is set back from that wall. Without leaning your head in, without getting a proper angle or further investigating that. You don't know whether there are alleyways down either side of that, but as you walk your way around the wall, there are installations on every corner. Some sort of program is running on each corner. As you get around the back, there is the same on the back left corner, if that's the route you're taking for going clockwise on this bitch. And as you turn that right-hand corner, I'm going to need you to roll.
0. Should I add my notice to that?
Nope,
Right.
because it's not a notice roll. Yeah. Okay. Oh, no. I want that. Oh, okay. Never mind then. So as you turn that right-hand corner, you find yourself face-to-face with a watchdog program.
Oh, good. Has it noticed us? Is it making any motions towards us, growling at us?
Yes.
Okay.
Most assuredly, the way watchdog programs work is it's sort of a threshold. And it most assuredly has taken note of you.
Troy turns to Exile and asks, should we avoid this watchdog or should we take it out?
Man, let's put this fucking dog down.
As you wish. And Troy's deck comes up and scrolls through it until lightning bolt pops up. And he points his finger at the dog and shouts, lightning bolt.
Give me a roll.
+1.
The dog, the watchdog program, whimpers and dissipates into a series of pixels and particle effects as it dissipates. And the entire area goes yellow, and you hear an alert sound, and the sentry guns that are positioned above you by the cameras that watch this area swivel and point at you both.
Troy real quickly activates Sentinel and Foxy,
Okay.
and then looks over to Exile and states, now may be the appropriate time to activate Sentinel.
Man, don't tell me what to do.
Very well. I will cease suggesting functions.
What else you want to do?
So there was a door nearby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Suppose it's time to go through the door.
Okay.
So Troy attempts to walk through the nearest door to him, which I believe was at the corner, right?
Mm-hmm. Right as you walked around.
Right, that's right. So Troy's going to walk through the door.
It is locked.
Then Troy's going to try a lawyer.
Okay. Give me a roll.
0.
You hear a disembodied voice sticking. And nope. Access denied.
Troy looks over the Exile and asks, do you have a suggestion?
Yeah, let me give it a try. Step aside.
Troy steps aside and lets him work.
Exile takes a leaping kick at the door. And you literally see pop up on the door, access denied, as he goes flying backwards. He stands up, dusts himself off. Man, I didn't get. There was some dirt on the ground. I didn't quite. I lost. I slipped a little bit when I kicked it.
I was not making a judgment. Since Troy has agreed not to make any more suggestions, Troy just suddenly walks off. And he's going to go along the walls until he finds another door.
There is no other doors to this location other than the front entrance to that wall and that back door.
Darn.
Meanwhile, as you turn the next corner and are clocking the rest of this wall, what you hear is as the sentry guns start going off.
Oh shit, those things.
At Exile.
Uh-oh.
And you hear shing.
Troy's turning around.
And the gun ceases fire.
Troy turns around and he's actually very, very curiously walking up and states, "How did you do that?"
Exile pulls out his already sheathed katana and says, basically, it's a piece of code that lets me directly inject exploits into a application on the net. But I made it look like a katana. Give me a roll.
Sorry, I just remembered that you mentioned something about that the last time we talked about this. I'm just looking through my notes. And I had a -1.
You hear a whir and a do, and you see kicking up virtual dust at your feet shots from the sentry above the door, and Exile. Oh, dice. There we go. Exile yells, "Oh man, fuck!" and just pivots, pushes off the back foot, and let's see, that cancels. That's a 5, and you get to see what Exile does as he very quickly pivots off of each foot, bouncing back and forth in a zigzag pattern as he sprints forward and jumps at the corner camera and sentry gun installation and swipes at it with his katana. Lands right in front of the door. He goes, "Well, they know we're here. You want to take another crack at this door?"
I think I will. And I think I may attempt a playbook I have witnessed from you. And as Troy walks up to the door, he stands just like half an arm's reach away from the door. And activating his usual protocol that would help defend maybe one of his clients or partners, he activates one of his fighting protocol, winds up a punch, and hits the door just with a straightforward punch.
Give me a roll.
0.
Access denied.
Damn. It's always a damn door.
As you punch that door and you see access denied, the door slides open. Standing there is the network administrator for this building. Give me your roll.
Oh no. +1.
I need this off of my map. Okay, there we go. Oh. All right. Three. As the door swings open, just in time, you step out of the way as he comes flying out of this door with a drop kick aimed directly at your head.
I believe we have alerted the system admin.
Exile goes, now this is exactly what I'm after. And he very quickly pivots onto that back foot and just points his sword at the system admin.
Troy's kind of starting to tilt his head, curious.
He goes to slice at the sysadmin, and the sysadmin very simply just moves out of the way and just stares at him. Troy?
There's a thought going through Troy's head. A very, very complicated process that to Troy probably took a few seconds, but for everyone outside witnessing Troy, it only took half a second, if even that. Witnessing the capabilities of himself, of Exile, Troy's going to run up from behind the system admin and grab him around the neck.
As you run up behind him and you reach in, very quickly, if you were watching from the front, there'd just be a swipe of the hand where his holodeck would be. And then there's 3 of him.
Oh, shit.
Which one do you grab?
We'll just say Troy had a random number generator go off in his head, and he's going to grab the middle one.
Cool. As you reach to grab the middle one, give me a roll.
-1.
You feel a shock, and you take a point of physical stress.
Yay!
The holographic version of the sysadmin dissipates as the other 2 start distancing themselves from you and Exile and spreading out. Exile takes this opportunity, picks one to his right, says, "Man, I don't care. I'll cut all y'all down." He goes, yeah, okay, so, and then, yep. He steps forward, takes another slash at the system admin, and the system admin just simply looks at him and just again leans off to the side and says, "You think you're fast, huh?"
Troy's gonna go for the other one, the one that Exile didn't go for.
Oh, well, that's good. But first, it gets its turn.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
It's okay. Because now the system admin gets 2 turns per turn.
Oh, come on.
Duplication protocols. Remember, programs, exploits, scripts, they can all be crafted.
It's true.
There we go. All right, so that cancels that. That's that. The other avatar of the system administrator looks at you, pulls up its deck, swipes his hand across it, and very quickly a bolt of lightning comes out at you. And he goes, let's see how you like it. Lightning bolt.
Aw.
Give me a roll.
Zero.
With your hack of 4 and his hack of 4, plus his 1,
Oh, man.
you take 1 physical stress.
Troy does stumble a little bit. But for some reason, normally all this damage and physical stress would be freaking him out, but he feels a little empowered by having some company around him. So he shakes it off. I mean, he still took the damage, but mentally he's not quite phased by this just yet.
The other avatar squares up against Exile.
Man, we just barely got to know Exile.
Yeah. And he just rolled a -1, and he has a hack of 3. And the sysadmin just rolled a +2 to his hack of 4. And so the system administrator takes one look at him and goes, let me show you what actual speed looks like. And he just sprints at him and just clotheslines him.
Damn.
Exile dropped to the ground. 1 hit across him, 1 hit to the ground, -2 physical stress for Exile. Very quickly dusts himself off, rolls up, gets up, says, "Oh man, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. I've had worse."
I do not have adrenal glands, yet I'm strangely excited right now.
Exile. So Exile clearly is rattled
Oh no.
by this instance.
Oh no! Oh no!
Exile is clearly rattled by this, with a total of -1. Is clearly rattled by all of this. And as he dusts himself off, he tries to pull out his short blade, his wakizabi, and get a piece of the system administrator on the way as he passes by. He fails miserably in this attempt, and the system administrator simply steps on that blade and just pins it to the ground, standing over him.
I think Troy's going to pivot. And he's going to go after the administrator that's on Exile. His protection protocols have activated.
Okay.
I think Troy's going to try a lightning bolt at the admin over Exile.
Okay.
So he pulls up his deck. It scrolls through it automatically without Troy even looking at it this time. And lightning bolt comes up. Troy just turns and points, and there's a bit of anger in his voice this time. Unusual for Troy. As he points his finger at the admin and says, lightning bolt.
B-roll.
+2.
The system administrator caught off guard by this, splitting his attention through through a duplication protocol, because fundamentally he is human. So right now he's having to functionally split processes in his brain. And he was focused at that moment with that avatar on exile. And he wasn't counting on you pivoting that direction. And the lightning bolt connects for 3 stress.
Jesus! I didn't know I had it in me. Still my turn?
Well, if you'd wish to move anywhere, do anything other than that. Yes.
Yeah, Troy's going to move towards exile.
You see in that moment when you hit the avatar, you see the 2 avatars sort of come back together. And now there's one system administrator avatar there again. Would be, yup, okay. Yep. He's going to use his turn to merge his avatars, and the avatar that comes back, singular, just dissipates.
Huh. Troy, as Troy notices this, he just leans down to lend a hand to pick up Exile.
Exile sort of bats your hand away and gets up. I don't need your help, man. I had it. I had him.
Of course. I just thought I would lend a hand. The system admin appears to have left us.
I wouldn't count on that, man. He's probably just fucking calling in reinforcements.
Perhaps we should try another entrance? Or actually, strike that. Troy looks at the door. Door's still probably closed, right?
It is.
Troy's gonna give it one more try to get through the door.
Okay. Give me a roll.
-2.
Access denied, but as the access denied screen comes up,
Uh-oh.
you see access denied, and then the door slides open. Standing there is Rez.
Troy is surprised by that.
She looks at the two of you and says, well, I suppose you serve as useful distractions at the very least. So for that, I can say thank you. Now, let's get out of here.
As you wish.
You hightail it back.
Yeah, Troy hightails it back along
Okay.
with Exile, if Exile's going too.
Yep. Rez has let's just say a modifier, a mod on her avatar. She's keeping pace with you guys, but she still seems to be casually walking.
And we're running.
Yes. So it seems to be that like her movement is very just sort of casual, yet somehow her speed is altered. So you guys get back to Club 2600, and when you get back, Rez turns around, looking at the two of you, and says, so, I think it's needless to say that the two of you failed that little mission. But
I see.
I think every failure is an opportunity to learn something. Exile, you're not as bad as you think you are. Troy, maybe it's time to start thinking outside the box.
I see.
Now, I'm going to give you each a copy of this data that, well, I suppose we is a generous term, that we just stole. And do with it what you will. Sell it wherever you want. I know Pass's client is only interested in a copy of the data for herself. So do with it what you will. You receive one data set that includes the entirety of the winter collection for Tailored Designs, a top-end design couture house that makes holographic and nano mesh synthware for dynamic clothes. Essentially the way that the most well-to-do and some others like to wear their clothes in NSF is functionally a set of clothes that can take the shape of any clothes that they upload to them. So they can on the fly change their clothes. Or with, new custom designed couture, or downloading collections that are released therein. High-end pieces of it's a high-end piece of garmentry that's one buys outright, and then you can upload varieties of things to it. A notorious piece of kit worn by a notorious former player. And so she excuses herself to pass on the data to passerby.
So these are like patterns that we could use to craft these garments.
They are patterns that are used on a particular type of garment that then becomes whatever these patterns are.
Interesting. I think I and Troy know a few people that may be interested in this data.
So, Exile looks at you and goes, Man, you were holding me back there.
Oh. My apologies. I thought we were working off of each other quite efficiently.
I got shit to do, man. I'm gonna sell these clothes. I'll see you around.
Likewise. In fact, I actually hope to meet you again soon.
We'll see. We'll see about that, man. Exile disappears off to the front door, as it were, and you just see his avatar granulate out.
Troy's just holding the little hologram of the garment patterns that he has, and it just sort of fizzles and phases into his hand, and some light just kind of travels from his arm up to his head as he saves the data into his internal memory banks. And initially, he would usually log off on this part. But he's feeling kind of good. Maybe he's not quite up for another hacking session, but I think he's going to hang around Club 2600 for just a little bit.
Okay. And as we see Troy lit up by not just the activities, but by the club itself, you suddenly hear the music kick up. You see the lights start moving faster. And if one were to pay close attention, you'd notice passerby is smiling ear to ear as Rez has just delivered unto him exactly what he knows will get a fiery redhead off his ass. And the camera coming around and circling and coming up top, seeing Troy from above, surrounded by fellow net runners, lit by the reds, greens, and blues of Club 2600, with the music going off in the background. Slowly comes to a close as the circle squeezes in on Troy.
And just before it closes all the way on Troy, Troy's just looking up, just off of the camera a little bit. There's a thought in his head, and just before it fades, he says, "I'm home."